It's been a while since I've done a Flight Simulator Learns to Fly update. I'm at 45 flight hours, and today is my long dual cross country of 158 nautical miles to 3 different airports. How did it all go, and what was it like planning the trip? Let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. My long cross country departed from Wyoming Valley Airport, which is a small untowered field in Pennsylvania. From there, we headed south to Reading Regional, which is a Class Delta, not too far from Harrisburg and Philadelphia. From Reading Regional, we headed northwest to Penn Valley, Sealings Grove, which is an untowered field, and then from there back to Wyoming Valley. Flight planning involved picking waypoints every 10 nautical miles or so. I used a combination of sectionals, Google Earth, and VOR radials to identify them. In some cases, they were right on the sectional, like Hazleton's Airport and the town of Hazleton, which were really easy to spot when we were beamed them. In other cases, the waypoints were so visual that you could spot them easily in Google Earth photos, such as the steam plumes from the Berwick power plant, which could be seen from 30-40 miles away and most of the route. Here's an in-flight video as we're passing off that waypoint, which just looks spectacular. You can see my hand was on the course deviation indicator because we're matching it up with the VOR radial that I'd mapped to this location. I needed to map out all of those waypoints on my sectional, then write them out on my navlog, and create what really looked like a Dungeons & Dragons character sheet for my flight. I felt like I was calculating my plane's armor class and dexterity. It's easily a couple hours of math to figure out what heading you need to fly, which is different than the course that you drew on the sectional. You're probably familiar that the grid on the sectional map is composed of latitude and longitude lines, and all of those longitude lines converge at a point that is the true North Pole. That is not where your compass points, however. And to make things more complicated, where your compass points north is actually dependent upon where you are at on planet Earth, because planet Earth apparently is more of a lumpy potato than a uniform sphere. You can see this easily in Sky Vector. If I tried to fly directly along the nearest longitude line to my airport, you'd expect that was a course of 000 or true north, but it reads 012. That's because where I live, magnetic north is 12 degrees west of true north, and you can actually see that written right on the sectional map. This tells me if I fly a magnetic heading of due north, I'll actually end up 12 degrees west of where I want to be. So I need to compensate for that by adding a 12-degree offset to all of my calculations. And then there's wind. So the wind direction and magnitude varies by what altitude you're flying at, and you need to look that up to get the right number, and then calculate a wind correction angle to get your final compass heading that you want to fly to achieve the course that you plotted out on your sectional. You get to do that all with the E6B, which is essentially a big slide rule, and I actually find it's kind of fun to use. I like that the wind correction angles are very visual and show you an arrow that is blowing in the direction towards the front or back of your plane that it will be in real life. If you do it all right, you will be rewarded with an engineering-like precision to your flight, where you can predict exactly how long it's going to take to each waypoint, which heading to fly to counter for the wind and the magnetic variance, and you will arrive exactly where you're supposed to be on the time that you're supposed to be there. We had flight falling for the entire flight, which means we needed to talk to Wilkesboro approach, Reading approach, and Harrisburg approach. And we also needed to pick up flight falling in the air at one point and flight falling on the ground at Reading, so it added some complexity to ATC communications. Here's a couple clips.
Reading approach, Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie 4500, direct Reading.
Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie, Reading approach, Reading altimeter 3051. Verify information echo, enter right base, runway 31.
Okay, we'll get the weather and respond and enter right base, runway 31, 172 Golf
Reading ground.
Reading approach, Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie, have information echo.
Skyhawk 2 Golf Charlie, roger. Skyhawk 2 Golf Charlie, contact tower 119.9.
Over to tower 119.9, Skyhawk 2 Golf Charlie.
After some turbulence as we passed over the trees on the approach to runway 31, everything calmed down once I made it over the threshold, and the approach was looking pretty good. But the thing about flying to other airports, especially ones with bigger runways, is it messes up your visual sight cues for where to flare, and I flared too high, resulting in a bit of a firm landing. You could hear my CFI say, not too bad, and me say, it could have been softer at the end there. So we taxied to Millennium FBO, and coming from a small untowered field where you do pretty much everything for yourself, I can say that I felt like Marty McFly in Back to the Future encountering the full-service gas station and just being amazed by it. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, even if you fly a Cessna to the remotest field you can find, there will always be two guys in reflective yellow vests standing there marshalling you into a parking space and crossing their arms when it's time to stop. And I was chuckling, my CFI was wondering why, as I rounded the corner, and there were those two guys in the reflective yellow vests, holding up the cones, telling me, left, 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 slow down, stop. And as I turned off the engine, one of them runs over and puts chocks in the wheels. And I was like, wow, I could get used to this. Everybody in the FBO was super nice. The place was all decorated up for Christmas. They offered us water, coffee, we did our bathroom breaks, and then after a short pause, we headed back to the plane and got on our way. And now it was time to pick up flight falling from the ground, which I haven't done before. So here is a clip of what that sounded like, followed by some of the traffic directions that I was getting from Reading departure on my way to Penn Valley.
Reading ground, Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie at Millennium, DFR request.
Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie, Reading ground, clear request.
172 Golf Charlie, Skyhawk 172 front call, like flight following destination, Sierra Echo Golf at 4,500, split destination Foxtrot.
Skyhawk 2 Golf Charlie, runway 21 Juliet, taxi Alpha Juliet.
31 at Juliet, taxi Alpha Juliet, Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie.
2 Golf Charlie, departure frequencies 125.15, squawk 0145.
Departure frequency 125.15, squawk 0145, Skyhawk 172 Golf Charlie.
Renault 762, turn left heading 270.
270, 19er 762.
Got 2 Golf Charlie, maintain VFR below 4,000 for traffic.
Skyhawk 2 Golf Charlie, descending to 4,000.
There's 1 Foxtrot Alpha, traffic 11 o'clock, 4 miles, northwestbound, Skyhawk 4,000.
211 Foxtrot Alpha is looking for the traffic.
Got 2 Golf Charlie, traffic 3 o'clock, 4 miles, westbound, Cirrus 4,500.
Hey, we're looking for traffic, 172 Golf Charlie.
Got 2 Golf Charlie, Rogers. Contact Harrisburg approach 126.45. Let them know you'll be looking for the Cirrus.
12645, 2 Golf Charlie, we'll know we're looking for traffic.
So next up for me is night flying, which I've already started, working on my night landings, and then a night cross country. I have a stage check, and then I do that same flight that I just showed you, solo. And after that, it's crunch time. It's all the lessons are prep for check ride. And I don't want to undersell it. There's still a lot to do. I've got to build up all my solo hours, so a lot of those lessons will be solo time. I've got to build up solo cross country time. I've got to get my air work up to ACS standards. Got to pass the written test, which is probably right around the corner for me as well. When I started, my school said the average was about 65 hours for most people. Some are faster, and people do it just over 40. Some take 80. Everybody's unique and follows a bell curve of skills and talents. I'm not working towards a number though. I'm working towards being safe and being a good pilot, so I will be ready when I'm ready. So I hope you enjoyed content like this. If you do, please leave me a comment, click subscribe, and hit that like button. It really helps the channel and it helps other people find this channel. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.